they did, was it GSL with Artosis and Tasteless?
Yeah.
And they were sponsored by Coke. And the camera turned to them, and Tasteless was drinking Pepsi. Because it was like in the middle of a game, and like when the discussion was going, they would like quickly show them, and he was like, because he had to put it down and then pull up his Pepsi or pull up his Coke.
You should just pour the Pepsi into the Coke can.
It's really good.
Because apparently the cans they had were empty or whatever. They were just like there as decoration.
Mm-hmm.
They were just getting their money.
Yeah.
It was funny though. How is it as far as like background buzzing?
Sorry?
Background buzzing.
Background noise are like our levels.
Is there any kind of an echo? Does the music kind of cover that? Is
I
that?
can't even hear the music when you talk.
Oh.
That's alright.
That's good. It's just there to fill in.
Yeah, it's just,
I can barely hear when you talk.
That's fine. You don't really need to hear it.
it's good.
We're the important part of it.
No one showed up for WoW
People
music.
aren't watching for the
Well, maybe someone.
for the WoW music.
Okay, how is it when Josh talks?
Yeah, Josh. Talk.
I don't want to.
Well, you kind of have.
Okay, let us know in 30 seconds how that sounds.
It's a sound check.
It's a massive delay.
What
The
sound
servers
check?
are in Japan.
It's like 3 days.
Hey,
away.
Snappy says it sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Snappy.
Snappy's a cool dude.
Snappy.
I tried to wear my Carbot t-shirt, but I couldn't find it. So looking through my pile of clothes, looking for a Carbot t-shirt, I found a Zerg t-shirt. So,
Well, that works.
Yeah.
Probably better.
I'm happy with it.
I want to get a car butt t-shirt. It'll be like a
Josh
car
says-
butt.
His logo and then
With
like
a
a
butt on
sticking
the
up
end of the
bottom.
car.
They just do like the anus on Community, like the.
No, it's like a car, but instead of a trunk, it's a butt. Car
And the-
butt.
And the testicle, whatever, like
The hitch.
yeah. The, you know the truck nuts.
Yeah,
I
the
think it was-
trailer
yeah,
hitch, and you
yeah.
put the nuts on it.
Yeah.
You're thinking way too much into this.
No.
I just turned the
This
trunk
is
into a
becoming a
butt,
thing
and then
for
you had to
him.
add like nuts
It's an
onto
actual
it.
thing now.
It's a dream he had once.
Car butt animations. Now with testicles.
Ben says it sounds good. Now his delay, because he thinks I just saw this. I didn't. It's actually
Yeah.
been there for like 30 seconds. So thanks, Ben.
Yeah, that was like.
And I was like, why is he a mod? Who is that? And then I noticed it was Ben.
Ben?
Did Rock do the extractor trick? Because he's an 11 out of 10.
Oh,
Snappy.
Snap. Oh, snap, Snappy. Oh, snap.
I get it.
That would be better if I didn't tell you that joke like 3 days ago.
Yeah, well, I'm a 11 out of 9 because I did the Zerg trick.
11 out of 9?
That's right.
Who uses
a
the
spawning
scale?
pool
Who
trick.
uses the scale 1 to 9?
Because the Zergs start off
I
with
guess
9
0 to
units.
9.
No, their limit is at 9 when they first
Oh.
start, and so that's why you do.
It's at 10.
It was at 9.
No, it's at 10.
What?
You get 8 from the Overlord and 2 from the hatchery.
When did this happen? Maybe it's Brood War.
Maybe Brood War did.
I'm pretty sure
Wow.
World War was 9.
I just dated myself.
Brood War might have. Because in StarCraft 2, when the hatchery finishes,
You're right. It is 10.
it gives you 2, and you can, if your supply box hatch finishes, you can make a queen.
You're right. You are correct.
Yeah.
It was the Brood War I was referring to.
So I hope everyone's been watching the alpha streams.
Yeah.
Alpha streams.
A little bit. I saw some
Looking
stuff.
good. Total Biscuit. It was funny. Total Biscuit streaming had like 20,000 viewers.
Yeah.
And everyone else was sharing like the other 20, like amongst like all 50 of them. And then Total Biscuit disappeared, and Husky was like, because he was up there on the same Skype call, and Husky goes, and all you cool kids that aren't going to bed right now, come over to my stream, and Total Biscuit's like, you're on the West Coast, I'm in Eastern time, you're 3 hours behind. So Total Biscuit went to bed, and then Husky got like all the viewers.
Yeah. Oh, what was I gonna say? Day 9. He's entertaining to watch, but I don't think he's very good at the game.
Give him some time.
Yeah.
At one
It just
time,
came out.
at one time he was like the best Brood War player in the
Yeah.
States.
No, I remember that.
And at
Well,
one
it doesn't really
time,
come from a MOBA scene.
No.
no.
Not at all.
Not a lot of these guys that are streaming do.
No.
Oh,
Like-
what am
And
I
if they
drinking?
did, it was on the side.
What am I
Yeah.
drinking, Ben? Well, it's a nice, refreshing Nos. Like,
You gotta
It
tell us so we
also
can see the
comes
logo.
in
Yeah.
grape.
it also comes in rape.
Oh my god.
Delicious.
We're not sponsored, but if anyone from Nos is
But
watching,
if you feel free to pick yourself up a Nos.
2 for $4.
2 for $4.
Now on sale for
At
2 for 4.
7-Eleven.
it's your local Becker's.
Becker's.
That used to be Becker's. What
I
is it
know
now?
that.
Used to be in
Max.
Avondale.
Is it tobacco?
No, Avondale was over on the
It was
other,
over there.
side. It's still there.
No one asked Jordan.
The one of like 4 Avondales left out of 1,000
Yeah.
from Ontario.
There's 2 in Thorold.
Is he?
3, actually.
And then there's the one.
There's one by Brock. There's one. on
Thorald's
one
the last
corner,
bastion
and
for
there's one-
Avondale.
The taxi
Quickly,
cheaper.
everybody close down and move to Thorold.
Hunker down. Draw the line here. No further.
We must keep them alive.
Yeah, I didn't see Tychus at all.
Yeah,
I
I,
don't
haven't
think-
seen Tychus at all.
I saw him once, but he was on the other team.
No, so
You
yeah.
can get because Total Biscuit just went out and bought every hero and every
True.
skin
That's
as
same
soon
with
as he got it.
the Angry Joe show.
Yeah.
Did you see his stream last night?
No, I
He was
didn't.
drunk on stream. Funniest thing, and he's just playing. His eyes are just like messed up. And then all of a sudden, his stream went down, and he never came back.
He just
He
passed
tripped
out.
over a cord.
But he went to go get a band hammer because he's like, I have a Thor hammer, and he left the room. And then he came back with a toy shotgun.
Not even a
So
hammer.
Couldn't find the hammer.
Not even a hammer.
You know what's really funny? Okay, if we're looking at.
Hey, what's up, Joker?
Oh, it's a joke.
Hey, Joker Sniper. He's from Texas, right? I think he's from Texas. I was on.
Welcome.
I was on a
Welcome to
Skype
the-
call with him once.
Welcome to the pre-show.
Yeah, welcome to the pre-show. For the
The-
next
We'll start
2
in a
minutes.
couple minutes.
Yeah.
I was on a Skype chat. I think it was Joker, and I'm gonna feel really bad if it wasn't now because I can't backtrack now. But him and his roommate were talking, and his roommate was like, "Man, you gotta be careful because at 9 o'clock is the new like My Little Pony show," and everyone else on the call just kind of went quiet. and then they're like, "We just wanted to see how you guys would react." So that's funny. Why is that new, Lamod?
What?
I don't know.
Why is that new?
Yeah, Texas. Okay, I think this is the right guy.
Yeah.
I feel really bad if it wasn't. Jesse,
Hey, Jesse. What's
Jesse,
up?
good job, man. Thanks for typing.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for typing. You can go now.
You filled your quota.
We got your message.
I'm pre-showing in my pants so hard.
Is it an
I'm
Autopop
pretty sure.
sleeve?
Yeah, my pre could fill an Autopop sleeve.
That's so good. Do we have a viewer discretion set up on here?
I don't
No.
know. We're not that bad.
okay,
I don't think
Oh,
we're
I don't
that
know.
bad.
Sometimes we
it was Joker. That story was actually Joker. It was funny. Because literally there was like
Viewer
30 of us.
discretion is advised. We need the Law and Order beginning. Dun,
Dun, dun. These are inspired by true events. That doesn't make them any less serious.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Don't attempt these at home.
So have you guys watched many of the streams?
watch
Just
them.
a couple.
Yeah.
Just
I-
day 9 mostly. But.
I really enjoy watching Illidan. He's pretty sick.
Yeah, Illidan's gonna be fun.
He-
You know who else I think you would really like is Zeratul.
Yeah, they're very similar, I think, in their styles, right?
Zeratul, just I've seen just run around and just
Yeah.
destroy people.
Yeah.
It's cool because he has an invis too.
Oh, right.
Well, yeah, he's cloaked unless he does damage or anything hits him.
Yeah.
But he still appears like a shimmer, like in StarCraft.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
But it's
on the
harder to
server.
tell
Yeah,
because
of everything around.
so much is going on. Whereas in StarCraft, you can look at your army and see like a thing move,
Yeah.
and if you're just macroing, you can notice that. But it's harder in Heroes,
Mhm.
even though like, it's the same engine, it's the same animation, but it's you spend a lot less time just relaxing and watching.
Yeah.
So I think it makes it even stronger, I guess you could say.
There's, well, I mean, and they haven't really, there's obviously a bunch that they haven't even released or talked about or anything like that. But one of them definitely is Vol'jin that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
one of those
And-
characters.
And they don't know what role he's gonna play.
Well, I know. I could see him as an assassin just because of the kind of guy he is. I mean,
Yeah.
I want some of the big bosses from WoW, like Ragnaros and those
Rag-
guys.
And a new Barak is on the list as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll be a tank. He's like this giant beetle.
well, and probably like KT,
Mhm.
he'll probably be in there at some point.
Snappy.
Or XT.
Okay,
Oh my
Snappy.
God.
XT would be hilarious.
XT would be
awesome.
hilarious.
That'd be so
His
good.
tantrum just like slams the ground.
Yeah. It's like
Snappy.
this big mechanical dude.
He just walks around with his arm.
He's like the robotic Richard Simmons.
Snappy made a joke
I'm coming
What
to
is
play.
because
Illidan.
Dota
Oh, you mean anti-mage?
Because Dota took like
Yeah.
all of the original. Well, it was made in the Warcraft engine, right?
Yeah.
But then they had to change all the names
No.
because it
What was
wasn't
started
the.
in StarCraft? Didn't they like the original?
No, it
No,
was,
no, no. It was
No, the-
Warcraft 3.
That's why it's
3?
called
Yeah.
Defense of the Ancients.
Defense
of the
Dota.
Ancients, Dota.
That's where it came from.
So
Jordan.
they had to change
Yeah.
all their names, obviously,
I
because
got
it's intellectual property and all.
Yeah.
But anti-mage is pretty much irrelevant. And then Stitches is Pudge, right? And those similarities.
Anti-mage.
I never got into Dota.
Yeah.
I played it a little bit, but it was like
It's hardcore.
you can
It's
still
super
go into
hardcore.
Warcraft 3,
Yeah.
and you can
Yeah.
still
Because
still
you did,
use-
like you're denying your creeps, like you want to kill,
Yeah.
get last hits on your own creeps, so they
And
don't
you
get a last
can
hit.
deny towers.
Yeah, you
deny
kill your own
towers.
tower just before it dies.
So that's
It's
a big
intense.
part of the meta.
Yeah.
So Dota, yeah, Dota's definitely hardcore.
Super in depth.
It's the of the three. If we're gonna say Heroes is one of the three, and League of Legends and Dota, those are the three MOBAs or hero brawlers. Blizzard calls them hero brawlers, and Riot calls them MOBAs, so we might as well call them hero brawlers. But anyways,
Yeah.
Joker.
I don't know if
I
I want to
actually-
hear that
I had to
story.
read that in the middle of a
want to know
sentence.
what's going on with this.
I just we were talking about
A
snow.
nature's prophet.
He's from Texas, and they don't handle snow very well.
Is that?
And I was saying we could take 5 inches pretty easy.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
we were on a Skype call, and he's typing everything I say into John's like Carbot stream, and he's like, Sergeant Rock
Rocket.
says this, and I was like,
That doesn't
Did
sound
I?
good out of context.
Takes it out of context.
I could easily take 5 inches.
no problem.
5 inches is no
6 is too
problem. When you start going over 5, I'm gonna have to, we're gonna
That's
have
what we
to do a little bit of.
I won't be able to walk very well after that.
Yeah, gonna have to.
You spend a lot of time scooting around the snow. All right, so Heroes of the Storm. Yeah, of those three, if we're gonna say the three are Heroes, League of Legends, and Dota,
Yeah, the top down.
Dota is the most complex.
Right.
And
Yeah,
League of
for sure.
Legends, League of Legends is like the middle, and Heroes is the most simplified. But you could say in the same way, Hearthstone, as far as card games, is the most simplified, and it has way more people playing Hearthstone than you do playing Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And do I think like this is super early? It's way too early to make any kind of predictions. But do I think Heroes will ever have more viewers than League of Legends or Dota? Unless there's a tournament happening in one and not in the other, I don't think so. But we'll see. 3 years down the road, because it took League of Legends a long time
Yeah.
to be this big.
Mm-hmm.
It was StarCraft, and that was it for a long time. And then finally it like chugged through and then became where it is now. And now it's the king of Twitch, if you're going to use that as any
Well,
kind
yeah,
of
but then you look at like
measurement.
so League of Legends has League of Legends, but then the Blizzard Dota or like Heroes of the Storm has Diablo fans, has Warcraft fans, has StarCraft fans.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get all of them coming in to watch
it's the
this
Blizzard
one game.
universe,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
converging
Which I
into
think
one.
is a lot bigger than just the League of Legends universe.
Well, Blizzard, okay, let's say like Blizzard released Hearthstone. That had not much of a following behind it. It was even announced that people were like, that's kind of disappointing, whatever. And then it ended up being more than what they thought it was going
Right,
to be,
yeah.
right? But Heroes of the Storm, like the team that's making Heroes of the Storm is Team 1. Team 1 is the team that has been around making all of the huge titles,
Right.
right?
Mm.
They took out Dustin Browder and Kevin Johnson and all of these huge guys in the StarCraft team and actually moved the StarCraft team to another building. And now Heroes of the Storm is where the StarCraft team was because that's like the big thing now. So at least on Blizzard's end, they want this to succeed.
Right.
Yeah.
And it does pull in everything, and that's huge. And that alone, like the initial wave of fanboys, if you want to call it that, is enough to get this like a good foothold of
Into
popularity.
Just friggin' moth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's these it's all this food behind us.
All this food.
Okay, funny thing about our overlay is that like Josh, as you can see, is actually sitting over there.
Yeah.
But for him to look at us, yeah, there's his hand.
It's
It
For
was
him-
kind of our
so we
moderator.
actually look like the opposite ways to look at each other.
I didn't realize that. That's hilarious.
So guys, what's up?
Ow.
All right, we might as
All
well
right,
do
shall we
it.
start this
so we
officially?
Can, start officially.
Thanks for showing up, everyone.
Yeah, thanks
so
for coming
far.
out to Quarter Circle Podcast for Heroes of the Storm. Basically, we're going to be covering a lot of personal opinions and what we think that Heroes of the Storm is going to bring to the MOBA community, and just go over simple stuff as maybe there could be a jungle, shared experience, what differences there is from traditional MOBAs to what there is for Heroes of the Storm. So again, so it's not a traditional MOBA. Like the items are replaced by talents that you choose when you level. So how does that change game experience? Like what?
In regards to the talents.
Well, just from like difference
Or the
from a
team.
traditional MOBA that you're used to playing, like League of Legends.
Well, and when it came to,
Well, it takes a whole meta out of it.
yeah, exactly.
So it's not like Justin was saying, it's not as complicated as like a lot of the other ones. So the like entry difficulties is that's where I think it's going to pull a lot of people. Is it, like Hearthstone pulls a lot of people because it's easy to get into and it teaches you, and then this one's kind of an entry level MOBA as well. I'm thinking. I mean, of course there's going to be technique. There's going to be like need to know the game and things like that. But
Yeah.
not having that meta in there, not having to worry about a build order and things like that, I think it'll make it easier for people
It's
to
more
focus
casual.
on. Yeah, well, it's easier for people to focus on playing the game and like getting into engagements and stuff instead of worrying about crap. I got to build against this person because they have this person on their team. You can just choose who you want.
Well, the thing about that too, also, is there are some talents that do require whether it's you can choose between more damage or more defense. Like with Illidan, for example, there's one where you can like do more damage with your basic attack or get a shield or something like that. And so you're still building the same way.
Yeah.
Like if you're fighting someone and you need a little more defense,
But then,
you
then
spec
it comes
that
down
way.
to like your spec
Right.
instead of like
What I find,
items.
I think the biggest difference when it comes to talents versus the items is you have to go back to your base to buy your items, whereas with the talents, you do it on the go. So it's less going back to the base and more time fighting in your lane and like just more engagements.
There's
going on.
less of a punishment
Yeah,
for going back.
and especially with the shared experience.
Mhm.
You don't lose out on XP by going back to your base,
Yeah.
and you can just go back there, heal up, and come
how,
back.
how do you think it'll affect like snowballs?
Well, they'll be less likely to have
Well,
that.
you can't really.
You have a snowball
Can't-
team.
You
Like,
won't have.
it's-
I guess your team could.
Your team could do it if you play right. You go
But
in the
When
mines
we were
or
watching
something.
streams and stuff, I didn't ever see anyone like more than like 2, maybe 3 levels ahead of the other team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it does.
There's not much of a disparity in levels between teams, so I don't think that's going to be like a huge issue. And plus, you could come back like if you started like maybe killing more creeps or something like more mercenary camps, things
Yeah.
like that.
Well, I think that's
getting
what
objectives.
Justin was gonna say.
You're probably going to like bounce up pretty quick.
Yeah, Dustin Browder, one of the
Back.
things, I don't know if he said it publicly, but Husky said this when he was streaming. He said, Dustin Browder said that the way it works is you should never be the difference of levels between teams should never be more than 3.
Yeah.
And he said that game where the difference was 4. And that team had, they were all like together. You could tell that they were all on a Skype call or they were all on like whatever. And they were all super, super organized, and they kept ganking, and they kept getting these kills and denying creeps and all this kind of stuff. So they were stripping levels from it, and Husky ended up losing. But on the same side, I was watching Carbot stream, and same thing. The other team, there was actually like JP and Wax Steven and DJ Wheat and a couple other, Caitlin, SC2. But anyways, the whole team was on a call. And John, Carbot, wasn't. He was just kind of on his own. He was kind of distracted, like pay attention to chat and whatever. And he just followed all of his minions all the way to a tower, and then he got ganked by like 4 guys at once. And this happened. There was the haunted graveyards, is that? Like the graveyard map, where there's
Yeah.
the mines.
Cursed-
The
Oh,
mines,
yeah,
yeah.
the
Haunted,
skulls.
haunted mines,
Yeah.
yeah. And there were times where the whole team would wait until like John would go down into the mines or be waiting at the entrance. And so as soon as he appeared, he would just die. And this happened over and over and over again. And John's team, or Carbot's team, ended up winning. So it comes down to being tactical. Like if you know that you need to be defensive, it's okay, we can't cross half. We bait them in, and there's ways to claw your way back in. Whereas in other MOBAs, if you have a guy at a max level and this guy's been feeding,
Yeah.
there's no way he's ever going to get there. And kind of coming back to your original point about the items versus abilities, like you guys play Smite a lot. And I used to, but it's been a while since I've played Smite. So I tried to hop in with you guys the other day. And the whole time I was saying, like, Josh, what item should I buy? Like,
Yeah.
I had no idea. Whereas with Heroes, really quickly, it tells you what they do. And you can go in there with
Well,
no
and you have
knowledge.
less choice when you need it.
Right. You can go in there with no knowledge. You can say like, oh, well, this works for what I want to deal damage, and that deals damage.
Yeah, because a lot of times, like with items, there's even though like you have to build according to like what's going on, there's still the cookie cutter builds that every ADC should have.
Mm-hmm.
There's items that every tank should have, and that's why when you ask like what should I build, it's easy to tell you because it's always the same thing.
Yeah, for the most.
Whereas when there's talents, you can just change it that way, and nobody's doing that same cookie cutter build every time.
Yeah, Snappy actually
I
brought
And
up
it does it, well, like we said, because it stops the snowball effect.
Yeah, Snappy just brought up a good point. He said like he loves Dota, but it's hard to get into. Like for example, for me, I got a buddy. My buddy Alex loves Dota, and he says like you should come play with me. And I know I'm gonna walk into that game
And get wrecked.
and I'm going to be absolutely terrible. Like I won't know what items to do, and I won't. Whereas I think the way Heroes is structured, it's going to be much more friendly. Like that whole.
Yeah, it's that entry level.
And you know the MOBA scene is pretty toxic. Like when you're relying on 4 other people, and one of them sucks.
Yeah.
It's really easy to point fingers, and it doesn't matter if it's Smite or League of Legends or Dota or Han. Like it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Even a 4v4 in StarCraft, if you got a teammate that's terrible, like it's pretty easy to point him out, and that scares a lot of people. Like you might download this game, play 2 games, and be scared and never want to go back because you don't want to disappoint someone. Whereas with Heroes, they're trying to balance it in a way where there's no wrong choice.
Yeah.
Like, and that was something they mentioned in question and answers like a couple of months ago. They said we're at a point right now where there's only one way to build. There are other options, but you're not as good. Like this is clearly the best way to build this hero, and so they said they've spent a lot of time balancing it. So it doesn't matter what you do; it can be viable.
Mm-hmm.
But you still like it depends on if they're pushing really hard, you want to choose the abilities that help you in that situation.
Right.
So
There's the other
It's a lot
things
to
too.
it.
Like we talked about, like items that you would buy in like Smite and League of Legends and stuff. Well, what about like wards, and stuff like that, where you can throw a ward in the jungle in, so you can keep an eye on ganks and whatnot.
Mhm.
But there aren't wards to buy. There are some classes that can put things like wards, I suppose,
Yeah.
out into different places, like creep tumors and stuff.
Yeah, the ones that Abathur.
Yeah, Abathur does the
Yeah.
creep tumors.
Does that give you vision from them?
Yeah.
It's probably not it's not that
Yeah,
big,
it's probably
but
not big, but it's there.
90% of the time I've seen the Abathurs put them in like the
bushes.
the high grass and
Yeah.
stuff like
Mhm.
that.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, that's typically where you'd put a
For
ward
a
like
ward,
League of
anyways,
Legends
yeah.
and stuff, for sure.
Yeah, typically where you
I
go.
mostly play Smite, so
Yeah.
I don't use the tall grass.
Yeah.
Most
But,
of the maps, at least 2 of them, have those. They're not Zilnaga watchtowers, but they have the same ability where you have control of it and you can see this big circle around it, regardless of grass and whatever. So that's another, I guess, substitute
Mhm.
for a ward. But that's all. Like looking at the maps right now, if this ever gets competitive at release, these aren't the same maps we're going to be like. If it's anything like StarCraft, they were terrible then, and the community made good maps.
Mhm.
And I think we're going to see the same thing with
Yeah.
with this, which I'm actually a big fan of.
Yeah, we'll get into maps a little bit later.
Snappy brought up the Moonwells too,
Oh,
which is
true,
a really
yeah.
really interesting
Then you don't have
concept.
to
Yeah.
go all the way back either.
Yeah.
You
No,
could just
it doesn't
pop in
do a
Moonwell and-
whole lot,
No,
No, but it's
but it's
there.
enough to
yeah.
keep you in lane. It's enough to sustain you in the lane, and
Yeah.
it's not like an instant. It's a regen.
Yeah, you need to
it's,
dip
it's
out
more
for
of
a
a
second.
tactical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's got like a 3 or 4 minute cooldown.
I
or
think it was
something.
90 seconds.
Yeah, I
or
think it's-
something.
No, I think it's longer than that.
Is it?
It might depend on the map.
Yeah, I thought I saw 90 seconds with some of you.
But I did see someone who didn't have much health that needed filling, and they touched it and it left some for someone else.
Oh, did
oh, so
Yeah.
it does. Okay,
And it's
that's
not
what
an
I
instant
thought.
heal. It gives you like a
Yeah, it's
it's
over
like
time.
It's a
buffer,
regen.
and then it
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
regens your health. It doesn't.
it's pretty quick though.
It's
Yeah.
a hot instead of a straight heal.
Yeah. So the jungle creeps.
Wait, before we go further, should we introduce ourselves?
Yeah, we kind of didn't.
Okay.
I mean, some
Just
people,
some people know.
this guy.
Yeah. So when we say names, we should probably know who we're referring to.
Yeah.
This
So
is
I'm Josh. Some people in here already know me as Rosie.
Rosie
So,
Gaming.
Rosie.
Rosie.
yeah, they've never seen you before. No?
No, I don't think so.
Have you seen me because I've been on like John's house?
Yeah.
I'm Jay Jordan, super fine elf. I jumped in these channels a few times. I'll tell you quickly where that name came from because it's kind of an odd name to see.
Well, you see, I'm a super.
Yeah, well, see, I actually was born in the forest. But
That's a
no,
normal elf.
when I first made an Xbox account, Xbox Live account. The name they gave me was Super Final 55, and some of my friends thought it was hilarious. So
But you changed
I
it.
did change it, which I regret now.
Changed it.
But at the time, I thought it was the stupidest name ever. And now, it's just stuck. I use it for Smite, for League of Legends, for pretty much everything.
All the things.
Yeah,
no.
all the things.
All the things.
But yeah.
Okay, so Snappy, this is way off topic. I want to talk about that later because that's actually a
cooldowns?
really good point. Yeah, the cooldowns of when people are responding. Now that's global, but we'll talk about that later. But I want to
Yeah.
just let you know that I'm
We'll
acknowledging
come back
that.
to that right after this.
Okay, I'm Justin, also known as Sergeant Rock, and some of you guys know me, but I got the name from the comics. I don't remember if it's DC or Marvel, but
It's probably DC. Doesn't sound like a Marvel thing to me.
yeah, he's not a superhero. He's actually from Easy Company, World War II. And he takes out Nazis like all the time. Like he'll be running down with his Thompson, and there'll be like a Messerschmitt flying by, and he like does a burst and like kills the pilot, and it crashes into like a Panzer and blows that up too. And I thought that was really cool. And that's what I picked. That's all I got.
All right.
Cool. I'm Josh.
He's the less cooler one.
I'm last for a reason. But I'm also known kind of as ZeroNet. That's what I usually use as a handle online. Yeah, I play Smite and other games. It's pretty awesome.
He's big on Japanese stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we've all spent time.
I'm pretty eclectic in what I like in games, but
Yeah.
It's true.
you'll probably see that on future streams when I'm.
Well, it's
streaming
funny because
games.
we all kind of have a different taste in games too.
Yeah, you'll get a lot. You'll get a lot of different stuff.
Mine is the
watching
best taste.
this. Yeah, obviously.
Every race is
Justin's
OP
is-
except the one that you play.
Yeah. There are 3 races in StarCraft. You play the weakest one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's us. We are
Us and
Quarter
Mitchell.
Circle Punch.
Yeah.
And this is called Quarter Circle Podcast. You see the name down there? Like, look how original that is.
That was good idea.
Oh my!
we got
God.
clever.
Yeah, it's on our overlay and everything.
Justin like woke up in the middle of the night. It's like
He wrote it down. He's still half
He's
asleep.
I know what it should be
That's
called.
a great idea.
He tried to call us at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And we can't forget Ben.
Yeah,
Ben
Ben,
true,
actually,
Is he still
he's
watching?
he's in stream as Bizarro Ben, but
he's
he's
the one that's allowing us to actually.
yeah
do this
he's awesome
and
behind the scenes. He helps us out with like tons of stuff.
Doing the
So-
website.
It's his brother, my
Yeah,
cousin,
my brother.
my cousin,
Yeah,
his brother.
yeah.
They're cousins?
Yeah.
And
They're
me and
cousins.
Rosie are cousins.
That's I just realized.
I have to point this way even though you're not there.
The magic of television.
these guys.
Okay,
And,
so
Yeah. Yeah,
we
sounds
can,
good.
we can
Oh,
go.
We can move on from that.
We can go on to the jungle camps.
Oh, okay.
So, I want to know if you guys think we're gonna see any junglers, maybe.
Well, you like.
It took me a second to realize you were trying to look at us.
Wait,
But,
I thought we were gonna see what Nappy said after our.
We'll get to that
it's
whenever.
related-
Oh,
let's
that's
talk about
later
it
on.
later.
It's related to the jungle
Um,
camps.
Oh,
yeah.
true. Okay.
I've always, I mean, you look at League of Legends, Smite, and Heroes of Newark, and all those, the typical games, and there is a jungle class or characters that not specifically because they can
They
do
excel
other
at
things.
it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're just very good at it, and it helps your team off because it leaves one person solo lane getting more XP and more gold and so forth. But in this game, because it's shared XP, you're not really missing out if someone's not there or
But at the
there's
same
more
time,
people
there
there.
are still heroes that do extra damage to.
to minions and towers.
Well,
The specialists.
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's what I'm wondering. Like, if
Yeah.
we're actually going to see some people or
taking
some
that,
teams,
taking
like, if
that
it gets
jungle
competitive.
role, yeah.
Yeah,
Because I mean, there would be advantages to that. If you have someone who's really good at like jungling and stuff, you can hit mercenary camps or like in the haunted mines, they could go down and start clearing skulls and stuff
and they can clear them
pretty
quick.
quickly.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I don't know how viable it is yet because it hasn't been out long enough. But
Yeah,
Right.
it would
just
be an
out
interesting
yesterday.
meta for like someone to be able to I can jungle and help out my team that way because you share levels and
Well, and it's
you know.
not only the experience thing.
And
right?
what they
Like,
could do, they could be a part-time jungle. Like it may not be a full-time thing. They could just go and clear.
I don't
and come
think
back
there's
to
enough
lane.
to do full time.
Yeah, they're
Not-
probably
not
not
the
on
maps
the
we've seen.
current maps.
No,
I think Dragonchar has a lot, and they even are like closer to your base, but it's not like League of Legends or Dota where you
Yeah.
can spend almost all of your time.
well, because it's
jungling.
part of the meta.
Right.
It's part of the traditional meta for a MOBA.
Yeah. That
It's
is
not that
part of
jump.
that cookie
Yeah.
cutter.
But
Yeah.
it like Heroes is kind of breaking that mold.
Oh, for
no,
sure.
no items, which is like a staple
Yeah.
in a MOBA. No real like they have the lanes and everything, but there's no real like I don't know.
There's no like.
It's not a defined role.
It's not a defined role.
It's not like
the
you're not
top-
like I'm 2 top or 1 top 2 bot, and you need your ADC bot
Yeah,
or
so
whatever.
I
And you
can't
support the
solo
bot.
lane.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't
Like
solo
like
lane
the
this guy.
laning. There's no like laning phase because that's basically the entire game.
Well, and then you can't
You
like
know?
go in a game like, oh well, these guys, there's 3 or 4 of them are all AD and 1 magic, and so you just build defense for AD. Well, you can't really do that
Yeah.
Yeah.
in this game, so
Yeah.
that's a big difference too.
Like, in one side, you can say like they've made this game more simplified, but the meta, it seems like the meta has so much more room for possibilities. Like Total Biscuit
Yeah.
says, like he's a huge fan, and in his words, he said thousands of hours have been put into watching and playing Dota. Huge fan of that. Like there was a StarCraft tournament going on, and in between games, he like made it publicly known that he was watching the Dota tournament that was also going on, and he had both up at the same time. And so he's a pretty big supporter of both. Obviously, he owns a StarCraft team, so there's that to take into consideration. But he said the meta is kind of getting stale for like the same map, 5 guys on a team.
Yeah.
It's like the jungler's this way, and certain cookie cutter things. Like
Yeah.
this is how it is.
Yeah, this is a MOBA, and
Yeah.
you can't break out of that MOBA.
And Total
mode.
Biscuit actually released a video today. It was pretty good, talking about his initial impressions. And one of the things he said was like, keep in mind this is not a final product or whatever. But one of the things he said was like, some people are gonna feel like it's blasphemy to not have items. And it says part of me thinks that as well, that it's kind of blasphemy. But on the other hand, I think like there's way more abilities because you have 4 to 5 per every other turn or whatever for every hero, whereas everyone shares the same items. So on one hand, you could say that's actually way more things you're looking at. Like the possibility of things happening are
The
so much
combinations.
more.
Yeah.
And many of those items are just building other items. They're just stepping stones. Whereas, and you don't have to worry about any of that. I love that.
Yeah.
And you kill the creeps, and they become part of your team, and they push, and you like get rid of tower ammo. And I love that's awesome.
It's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then that's going to what, kind of on the same lines as what we can throw in is to, I think it was Snappy that said it, with, it has the timers over top of the camp when we kill them.
Yeah, actually,
So you
Smite
know
has
when
that
they're
too.
going
Yeah,
to be
Smite
spawning
just
again.
had
Smite
to put that
added
in
that
Yeah,
recently.
they just
recently.
added it, like last patch.
No,
Oh,
I
there's
think
a couple
it was
ago.
little- Yeah, patch before.
There's a few.
Yeah.
It shows the cooldowns now, which
Yeah.
is nice
It's
because
nice
you don't
to
have
have.
to be constantly like
Well, you always
stopwatches all
had that
over the place.
internal timer.
Yeah.
You tried
But
to.
you don't have to
You
worry
get guys with
about
their
that.
4 stopwatches. Like, okay,
Yeah,
I killed
yeah.
that one. Click.
Yeah, like,
Okay, fire giant up in
All those,
whatever,
like,
or Baron
chess
up in
player
30 seconds.
stopwatch.
Let's
yeah.
all make our
you,
way.
you would have to know exactly when the other team killed it,
Yeah.
so that you can go and get the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that is cool that shows the cooldown for if a hero dies. I don't know if you guys have noticed because it's at the very top of the map. Well, not the map, but the very top of your screen. It has like a sliding bar, the red
It's
one
like
and the
kind of
blue
in the-
one, and it shows not the experience.
Oh, yeah.
If a hero dies, his like face will appear and it will slide towards when he gets to the bottom. He respawns,
Right.
and so you can see now in Smite it has like their image with the counter or whatever. And it's
Yeah,
kind of
you
like
have
that.
to tab.
Yeah,
it's not
if,
readily
if you
available.
hold up
Oh, yeah.
the,
It's
the
not
score
just-
screen, it'll show
Yeah.
like how many
There's-
seconds are left.
How many
or
seconds are
whatever.
left under death? But that's kind of nice because it's just a heads up. You can just like look.
And you always know. You can see, well, there's 4 down, and,
Yeah.
and this one's
Yeah.
got 3 seconds till he appears,
Yeah.
and
No, it's definitely
that's
changing a lot.
that's
of
kind of
good
nice
things.
too. It's not really different. It's just another it's another thing showing that they wanted to keep it simplified, and they wanted to keep it fun, and they wanted to get rid of downtime.
Well, and also they were saying they want like the matches to be shorter, right? Like 15 to 20 minute
Yeah.
matches instead of like hour long.
45 minutes to an hour sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is
I remember
another
having
huge
like a
thing.
94-minute match in Smite once. That
Yeah.
was,
Just ridiculous.
Those are.
right?
I love long matches. I
Except-
do, man.
except
Yeah.
you say you hate Conquest because it's so long.
Well, no, because the increments of gold that you get is so little.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Well, it's
That
not
it
fast
takes-
paced.
Yeah,
At
and when I
all.
say long, I don't mean like length of time. It just takes.
Everything takes longer to get. and
Yeah,
to do.
like like when we do threes,
Yeah.
like it's easy to get your build and you can push and there's so much excitement.
But that's the thing. Like it's with Heroes, it's constantly like engagement after engagement. There's
Yeah,
no
and
like
you don't have to.
you're
worry
not
about
always
it.
being like super careful all the
Yeah.
time.
Well, because you start out with 3 skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Right off, so team fights right away
Yeah, are viable.
are going to be awesome instead of just relying on.
And I think that'll help early game because a lot of I don't know. It seems to me in like League of Legends, Smite, and stuff. A lot of characters have a lot of early game like push or like gaining abilities and stuff,
Capabilities,
just
yeah.
because of who they are and what their abilities are that you can get first. And it just seems like they're balancing it more in Heroes to be. No one's more like OP or like oh, we're going on this map, we have to have this character, or like
Yeah.
we need to have this person on our team because that he's the best for everything, whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
I'm
you
sure.
have more choices, like I think with Heroes, and I hope that's what they're trying to
Right.
do.
Well, I mean, you look.
Because
at,
I hate how like they're always like, oh, you need this person on our team to be able to.
Having said
do
that,
this.
though, I don't think you're going to see a team go out without Uther.
Uther.
Or someone that fills that role.
Yeah.
He's the best that does
Because
it.
they
Right.
heal.
far, but
like-
what
Because he's
about-
a tank and he's a
tank
good
and he
healer.
heals.
What about
And
if
he
they-
does damage.
Yeah.
What if
He
they
can,
bring
yeah, and
like
stun,
Tyrion
yeah.
Fordring or something? He's like the same thing.
Yeah.
So like if they, I don't know how they would incorporate 2 paladins.
Like, I'm going to be interested to see the stats of, like, when you have this character on your team, this is the percentage that you're going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
For
pretty
all that to
sure
settle, yeah.
that Uther is going to be up at the
I
top.
think, I think Abathur whatever would be on there too.
A good
Could be.
Abathur.
Yeah,
Could be.
because
Yeah.
he's.
Because I
I see
feel
him
like-
in almost every game.
But I feel like even though
Who's on the fruit?
a bad Uther can still
true.
heal.
Yeah.
A bad Uther can still stun somebody, whereas a bad Abathur can have terrible placements.
What's the thing? Like they can make, and this is kind of getting into the whole thing of shared experience, right? But which is another topic. But they can make heroes that are so abnormal, and really the only one we have right now is Abathur, but that are so abnormal that someone who knows how to play it and has amazing awareness and a good team will dominate with.
Yeah.
But if I were to use it, I would be absolutely terrible. Right? Like if you try to solo queue with this hero, you're probably really bad at it. And if you're not very very familiar, it's kind of like in Hearthstone, like doing a rogue, where a lot of the times for anyone who plays Hearthstone at all, I'm really bad at rogue, and it works a lot on combos and like playing certain cards at certain times, and it seems backwards a lot of the elements. And Abathur's like that, and I think that's really cool. And they can do some crazy things. Like you can have 2 guys ulting because you've cloned him,
No,
and you
true.
can have this like crazy like Illidan
Right.
when he's ulting looks amazing, and then suddenly you have 2 of them in a lane.
Charging, just
Like that's
flying in.
nuts. That is so cool.
There's you're always gonna find too. I mean, sure, a lot of it relies on the player, and I feel like this game will rely more on player skill than like builds and stuff like that, being fed or whatever.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I agree.
it does come down to like the player, obviously. You know, in a lot of situations, like you play a good player playing Abathur and a not so good player playing Abathur, and you know who's going to do better. But some characters in general are just easier to understand or play. Like I remember I was playing League the one day and I was doing an ARAM and I got Ziggs, and I had never played him before, never touched him. And I ended up going like 24-7 or something ridiculous, because he's easy to understand, and all of his stuff is just explosions. And I'm just like, okay, you just line it up, and it's
throws
mostly
bombs
it's all
everywhere,
AOE
Yeah.
basically, and so it's just easier to play. And like he's kind of small, so you don't really see him, and he's, you know, you can avoid things really well. But like there's things like that where some characters are a little easier to understand. I mean, I'm not saying like I'm far from a pro or anything like that, but I can learn and understand characters fairly quickly, I would say. Like I got Master Yi another time. He's a little easier to play too. He's a little OP in my opinion, and I got a massive kill streak like
Well,
that
and I
too.
think it'll be easier to carry a newer player too.
No,
Because
agreed.
you're not
'Cause-
worried about them getting under leveled.
yeah, because
Right.
you're all leveling.
Gamed all
It's
the
it's
time
a,
'cause you're
it's
all together.
it's even more well.
He can go AFK
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
and come
he's
back,
so
and
level.
he's at level 20.
Yeah.
Whereas that would.
I don't know.
be
That's a
cool.
good good mechanic.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I like, and this is going off a little bit from what we were just talking about there, but your traditional MOBA, now at the pro level is different. At the pro level, you can have a team demolishing, and then it swings around because those guys know what they're doing, right? Like you're looking at pro Dota teams or pro League of Legends teams, like that's not your normal game. But if you're looking at the kind of game that we're going to queue up with, or the average gamer is going to queue up with, within the first 10, 15 minutes, it's pretty much determined who's going to win. And sometimes, especially Dota, because there's no surrender option,
Yeah.
sometimes that game goes on for another half hour. And you're just losing. And nobody likes that. Like, you get frustrated, and then you point the finger at your teammates, and you get mad at that guy who
I
keeps
always
killing
point it
you.
at them.
Yeah.
It's never my fault.
Yeah, that sounds like something Norell would say as well.
But it's the thing, whenever I play
Where were
somebody,
you guys? Dude, you ran off by yourself like 5 minutes ago. And
But the difference is it really isn't like that.
So regardless,
It really is.
anyway, that's super frustrating for someone who's trying to get into a game. Like, first of all, you're committing at least half an hour,
Yeah.
sometimes more than an hour to a game, and sometimes it's been determined so long ago, and it just sucks. Whereas in Heroes of the Storm, like, we were watching Day 9 play yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so glad that game was over," and he was only losing the last 5 minutes. Like, that's
Yeah.
not even that big of a deal, and he can just hop right in the next one, and
Yeah.
you start from scratch again. You're totally fine. Your plate is clean.
On the other hand, too, though, like there's been plenty of times where, whether it was Smite or League of Legends, and your team is like behind maybe 15, 20 kills and quite a bit of gold, and you get that one moment where in a team fight and you wipe them out and just push, and you have like a minute all
of
on your
free
own
time.
just to
Yeah,
push
yeah,
middle,
yeah.
and you win just right there.
Yeah.
And like
League's all about
Yeah.
those.
Smite's I've had a few of those in Smite as well. That's and you just it's
Well, Heroes can be as well, because you have, when you're getting into like Heroes past level 15 and 20, which is your late game, the cooldown is about a minute when you die. So if you do have a big team fight, because with these maps, and I know we're going to get into this later, but with objectives, it forces you to want to be in locations at the same time, which means fights are going to happen.
right.
Yeah.
And there can be pretty easily a time where you kill 3 or 4 out of the 5, if not all 5, and you can push and destroy quite a bit. So that element's in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I like those objectives. We're going to talk about that later. But I think that is another mix-up that I approve of. Obviously, the game isn't perfect, but I'm agreeing with a lot of this stuff.
Where did that
they-
conversation stem from? What was the?
It doesn't matter. We got there.
I know. I was just curious. Of like, how do we even end up there? I know Moonwells came up, and then
Yeah, Moon
And
was
then we
there.
talked about the
I think it started with Creeps is where we started.
oh, true. You brought up the whole creep
The whole
thing.
jungle
Jordan's
thing.
here. That's
we
why.
think we see jungles.
That's why we're talking about Creed.
Oh, we haven't even talked about shared experience yet.
No, that's actually what I was going to get into next. And,
We sort of
We touched on it.
though.
No,
A
will
bit.
Let's dive into that though.
yeah, well, for roaming specifically, you're free to roam without losing experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like switching lanes to help a lane isn't gonna screw you over like it does in
Because
others.
that's the
Right.
biggest thing of a jungler, is when you're going to gank, if you don't get that gank, you're behind.
Yeah.
Because you wasted
And
time not getting a
because-
camp instead of.
Exactly. So, and you don't have to worry about the time from going from camp to camp that you're not gaining experience because everybody else in your team is doing it for you.
Mhm.
Right. Well, and on the like opposite side of that too, it's like typically sometimes in a league game a team might not have a jungler, so it'll be a 2v1. Like I've been Mordekaiser top 1v2, and I mean he's pretty strong when it comes to that, and he's pretty good at that. But the thing is, I'm getting more XP.
Yeah,
I'm getting
gonna
more
out-level
gold
them
than
easily.
both of them,
Yeah.
and so I'm out leveling them, and so that's making me stronger in that aspect, and so that won't exist. You
No,
know
but you're doing it for your whole team.
exactly.
Well, the thing is
So your
also
whole team is going to be set.
the thing
up
is also
above.
in
with the other guys.
in like League of Legends and stuff, you want to feed a certain character because you want that character to be ahead and to be
Right.
more powerful than everyone else.
Right.
In this, it doesn't really matter. Like when you kill someone, it helps your entire team
Mhm.
in the fact that you all get levels, you all get what you need from it, and then you don't have to worry about like one person being super strong.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't really see a downside to the shared experience.
Well,
Other than wanting to
It
feed
just-
wanting to get someone fed to overpower, like
Yeah.
that's a strategy.
that's
in
part of the
game.
meta.
That's part
But
of the
it-
meta in
Yeah.
It
other
is,
games,
but why
in
not?
the MOBA.
Like the reason why you play these games is to play with the team.
Yeah.
So why not have your whole team on the same level as you?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
no, for sure.
beyond all that, we're going to talk about Abathur again. Like, Abathur can exist in
Yeah.
this game where he wouldn't normally. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
we know Blizzard's going to make more heroes that are like
Yeah.
that, where they're not
which I'm
actually.
super excited.
Yeah.
The whole thing of Abathur, I love that whole idea.
Yeah. I don't even know if he has a basic attack. Apparently, he did at one
He
point.
does. I saw
And
him
he's just
kill
like-
a creep. He's just like whack.
That's what Dustin Browder was saying. Like
Yeah.
they actually had a game where an Abathur killed Uther.
With an auto attack.
Yeah, and he said that was like the
With a
funniest
limp
thing.
wrist.
Just
It's like this
scratched
limp
him.
wrist.
No one even knew that was possible. Like he just hopped, like he dug in, and he was like super low on health. They just like got him. But I think, well, okay. Here's a point that we probably shouldn't talk on right now because this is way off topic. But I want to touch on this. So does anyone else want to go more with the shared experience? Because I know in order for your team, like let's say you have a lane. And you have two like waves of minions fighting each other, and there's no heroes nearby. No one gets that experience. There has to be a hero within range, and then your team will share it.
Right.
Yeah.
So some of these maps only have 2 lanes, and as long as one is there getting that experience, you can gank with like 4 guys, and you can push on. You know, like say one guy is getting a creep or 2 of them, you can gank pretty easily, and there's no loss of there's no risk, I guess you could say. So it can be more exciting because you're constantly on, you know, the defensive, and you're constantly aware that you could die at any moment. And I think that should make it more exciting.
If you have so some of these maps are 2 lanes, and then there's currently just one with 3, right? But if you're on like one of these 2-lane maps and you only have one hero in both lanes and have the other 3 roaming the jungle and killing camps and ganking, that's like I think that's an ultimate freaking meta right there. Like just you know what I mean? Like as long as
How do
they
you stop a 4-man gank with one person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, that's what. The thing
Everyone
is,
hops on their horses and just runs.
Yeah.
Like, that's,
Exactly.
yeah,
that's exactly what you're saying. How do you stop
yeah.
a 4-man gank?
Well, yeah, or like 3 even. Like if you have one guy here in these 2 lanes, and then you have 3 guys roaming the jungle and you don't know where they are. There's
Yeah.
no wards, right? Unless you have certain characters that do it. Like
Or
I
that
said.
tower.
But you have these 3 guys running around ganking, and 3 assassins even. Like if you have like right, like if you have like I don't know, Illidan and
you still need meat.
Zeratul, but that's like you could put the meat in the lanes
Yeah.
as long as
Yeah,
they have
you can
some.
make the meat be those creatures.
I think
that
it's
kill.
still going to be traditional in the sense that you need a
I like
tank
meat in the
and you need a
lanes.
support.
I
For
think
the first-
you're going to want
for the first well, for sure.
yeah, you're going to want
Right.
some type of warrior and maybe 2 assassins.
Yeah.
I don't know how smart it'll be to run 3 assassins.
No, I
No,
know. I'm
because
just kind
your
of
team would be
humoring
too
the
sweet.
You
idea.
could do it.
Yeah, it's
whether or not
doable.
you win.
If you have,
Yeah.
well,
Is
like
another-
as long as the 2 guys in lane have like fairly good survivability and clearing potential, like if
Yeah.
they're able to clear the creep, the minions, like well enough by themselves, then why not?
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be. He's really gonna have to be paying attention. But then again, you're gonna have 3 guys in the jungle with vision in the jungle,
Yeah.
knowing if there's a gang coming, and 3 guys running into another gang. GG, right?
Yeah. But
That's too close to the mic.
as you ruin the microphone.
People let me know how loud that was.
I definitely even
both
heard the
erased
button.
for
They
it.
just probably heard like a slap
like-
on the table.
The mic was all wibbly wobbly.
That's funny. But
Wibbly
yeah.
wobbly. I had a so we can move on.
Well, it
And
was,
the point is, there could be lots of team comps.
Snappy was saying any draft can beat any draft per se, but
Oh yeah, that was.
there are combinations of heroes
Yeah.
that are extremely
And we
difficult
kinda-
to win with.
We
Yeah.
kind of just touched on that. Like,
A little bit, yeah.
Well, the way the queuing works right now, if you hop into the game, like okay, Carbot was streaming, he wasn't playing with anyone, he was on his own, and you sit there and he hasn't bought any heroes and he has the 5, right? So you pick your hero, and then you click ready to queue. So you are literally hopping into a game, and it's
You've
a random
already
team.
chose-
Whereas for some of these other ones, you hop into a lobby, and then you say, okay, well,
you
we can make a
decide.
balanced team. Okay, so we have that tank, and
Well,
we
yeah,
have that jungler. and
Everyone
we have-
starts calling their positions.
Right.
Like, I'm top, I'm solo.
And even then, there's a bit of teamwork there. But the way Heroes is, and this might be a downside if you're not playing with friends, that you could queue up and be like, oh, we have all 4 specialists and that 1 support.
but at the same time, like, there's always those people that auto lock. As soon as you get into a lobby,
Yeah, that's
they
true.
auto lock.
They want to play that character.
So
Yeah, well, yeah,
basically,
And they will
everybody
only
just
ever
turned
win.
into an auto lock baddie.
Now, is that a bad thing? For a
What?
casual player, I could see it either way, because I could say, I only really know Illidan.
Yeah.
I'm only comfortable with Illidan and Uther,
So you'll
and so I'll pick one of those.
you'll
Yeah,
never
but-
have to worry about somebody sniping that hero that
Right.
you're good with.
Right. But at the same time, you could mess up the composition.
But it has still only been like what?
A day and a half.
A day and a half.
I also
Who knows what they're gonna?
They
do.
could have 2 different queues. They
Yeah.
could have lobby pick or they could have pre-pick.
And that there could be like, we don't even know if they're gonna do rating system. If there's gonna be
Like a ladder?
an elo.
Well, if you look at when you queue up for a competitive or a ranked, no, it's not called ranked, a versus match when you play against people. In the subtext, it does say versus people of your skill level.
Oh, does it?
So we know that a ladder is coming. It's a
That's
StarCraft 2 engine. I imagine they're going to use something, like gold, silver, bronze, whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that will be fine. It works.
Diamond.
It works well with Dota. It works well with League. So,
Yeah.
but obviously, let's say that the 5 of us, because my little brother Sam is here, you just can't see him. If the 5 of us were to queue up for a match, we could easily pick a well-balanced team, and that will give us an advantage.
An advantage for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I think the auto locking in general is a terrible thing. Like, there's no a good player doesn't go into a game and auto lock.
Well,
Like,
no, but
that's the difference. I think is like only people who are whether only know how to play one character or want to learn one character. Well, if you want to learn a character before playing in a PvP match, play against some bots.
Yeah.
Like really get
Like
a feel
co-op.
for their abilities. How to play them, and then go into a match and be like, okay, this is the character I want to play.
Or when we get our hands on betas, you can come to QCP and look at tutorials.
Yeah, or alphas, and betas.
For all the Blizzard employees watching,
Yeah. Oh,
my
zero.
login information is.
for all
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
No, well, this is off topic, but because the technical alpha hit, I think a beta is around the corner. Like
Probably
even
for a
Total
month or
Biscuit, probably a couple months,
yeah,
but it's closer than,
we think.
to quote Carbot, sooner than you think.
Yeah.
And even Total Biscuit, because I'll mention this a lot, but he brought up a lot of good points in like 45 minutes because he's good at that. But one of the things he said is he goes, "This doesn't even seem like an alpha. It seems extremely polished."
Right.
It
For what
does
it
look
is.
Yeah.
super smooth.
Well, they've probably been at
Well,
it for a while.
that engine-
Smooth as A.
Well, when it was Blizzard Dota, they were building it, and before they even called it Blizzard All Stars, they actually just scrapped the entire project and started from scratch because we don't like this is no, and that Blizzard is famous for that.
Yeah.
For saying like, hey,
Like
StarCraft
Titan.
StarCraft 2 is coming out. I remember being like 12 and thinking like, oh, StarCraft 2 is like it's a thing, and then the engine hadn't even started and it was like 10 years behind.
Hey, I'm pretty sure like 10 years ago they announced the Warcraft movie.
Oh yeah, that never
Yeah,
happened.
but that's
StarCraft
actually
Ghost?
happening.
Well, now it's happening.
Yeah, now there's-
10 years later.
Now there's a director.
Well, before it was like
Well,
they
they
had
had like 3 directors attached.
They had like
Yeah.
Sam Raimi, and they were getting the script going, and then Sam Raimi couldn't do it, and so they're just like, all right, we'll just screw it for now. And they just kind of forgot about it, or just didn't do anything with it. And then
Yeah.
eventually,
But he wanted them all to be in StarCraft universe at the end.
Yeah,
This is a
the
big
plot twist.
at the end.
what?
You thought this was World of Warcraft? It's really StarCraft.
This is not Warcraft in space.
We were in StarCraft all along.
Oh, this is an arcade map.
What is going on? That would be
Now
messed up.
that you mentioned maps,
Is that what you want to get into?
What a perfect segue.
let's talk about maps. a little
Segue.
bit. Blackheart's Bay. Well, I mean, all their maps are traditionally the 5 versus 5. Like, I don't think we'll see anything different from that.
Oh, they might have a threes map. Like if you look at
Maybe as a goofy thing.
Maybe like an ARAM kind of thing. Well, actually, there is a random hero button,
Yeah.
and you don't even know who you're getting until you're in the game.
that's I like
It's like a Kinder surprise.
Yeah,
I like that.
and it's funny because who was it that I was watching the stream? I think it was Angry Joe. Because when somebody joins your party and they've chosen random, it's just a figure of a man.
Oh,
But it
really?
looks like all matrixy.
And he's got that little logo,
So
right?
he was
on his
so
chest?
angry. He's like, "This guy's not even here. He's disconnected." He's all yelling because all he saw was just the man.
Whereas everyone else is like their cool skins.
Yeah.
And, and it's just like a
It's kinda
silhouette.
funny. But
Blackheart's Bay.
yeah, let's go Blackheart's Bay.
Okay.
You're
so-
talking about, well, just really quick, because you're like, they're all 5v5 right now, and I don't really see them doing much. Well, if you look at like 3v3 maps, like you have in Smite, you have the Joust, and then you have
Yeah.
Twisted Tree Line in League of Legends, and so
I think though Blizzard would probably leave that more up to the community.
If a
No,
ladder,
perhaps, yeah.
if a ladder were to exist, I think it's going to be 5-on-5.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
if
Yeah.
there's like, let's say it's a StarCraft engine. Let's say it looks very similar to StarCraft. There's going to be community-made maps that are 1-on-1 or 2-on-2
Yeah.
or whatever, and you can join that whenever you want. but the ladder / competitive scene, if one evolves, and I imagine it will, even if it's a
Yeah.
little one, I think they're going to stick to the 5v5 format.
Well, that's
But
typically
to goof around on smaller maps is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's
It's
gonna be a lot
super-
better because of the community-driven maps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to rely
You don't
on
have to wait out for a patch to come out for Blizzard to be like, oh, here's our new map.
Yeah, because the community is awesome at arcade games.
Oh yeah.
They do so much good stuff.
Well, look at Starbow. I don't know if you guys followed StarCraft much and knew what Starbow was, but a guy took StarCraft 2 engine and he converted it with Brood War. And so you had like Dragoons, they took out sentries, your units don't clump. Like, you get a bunch of Marines, they clump, or Zerglings, like they would like automatically spread out. The Mutalist mechanics were different, and he changed all of this, and now it has its own ladder. And like
Oh,
Total
wow.
Total Biscuit
Yeah.
runs tournaments. And normally for a team tournament, you have like this guy faces that guy, faces blah 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 blah. If there's a tie, here's an ace match. But he has a 2v2 in the middle, and then some of them he'll have a Starbow match in the middle. Like that's how much it's gone into the community. And give those tools to the heroes of the Storm community. You have guys from Warcraft, you have guys from Diablo, and guys from StarCraft all doing that.
Well, I know it'll never happen, but I was watching GOM. I was watching some stuff on GOM.
Yeah.
And
Like GSL stuff.
yeah, the GSL, and the chat was saying that they should just replace GSL with Starbucks. It would never happen, but just the fact that somebody in the community made a map like that,
Yeah.
somebody's suggesting that GSL take on
Yeah.
a use map setting game is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just give those tools. Like, look at how diverse these maps are.
Yeah.
We're going to dive into them in a second, but look at how crazy diverse those are. And Blizzard came up with that. Not to say Blizzard is bad at making maps, but sometimes they are. And if you give those same tools to the community, like, I want to see like a tower defense.
Yeah,
MOBA
that would be
map.
cool, eh?
It would be terrible.
When you
But
look at
No, man, that'd be awesome.
well, when you look
Maybe
at
that.
Sunken tower defense.
you look at
stack
some
them.
things that Blizzard actually has done in regards to map stuff. Like the thing that comes to mind for me, I mean, the only other thing that like compares to it would be Battlegrounds in World of Warcraft.
Certain blood badness.
Because, well, I meant that style of PvP, right? Because you have all these maps that they have, and they're all, well, most of them are different in their own ways. There's one,
Well,
there's
the only good ones are like Warsong Gulch.
well, I'm not talking about good. I'm just talking about the variety that they have now. You have like the mines where you're like guiding the mine carts into the pits or the holes or whatever, and then you have like your basic capture the flag ones like Warsong Gulch, and then the King of the Hill kind of thing. Like you hold your bases like Arathi Basin, and then
Yeah.
there's a few other ones like
you could totally
Gilneas.
capture the flag map and
Oh
yeah, totally.
have a flag just outside of their towers and have a beacon just outside of yours.
That's
And
like-
So much
and-
fun.
and
Oh,
then
you
the,
could.
the-
Just one lane, everyone runs at it, but you got some like, jungle
Or you
paths
just
and
have
stuff.
one beacon in the middle, and whoever controls
Yeah,
the
that
longest
would work too.
like gets to a certain.
It's a
point.
20-minute map.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
20-minute map, and
that's-
whoever has the
that's
most
kind of
points
like
on it
League of Legends has
King of
that.
the Hill.
Smite had that the
Yeah.
domination, and then in League of Legends Dominion, same thing. You have to capture these points and hold those points for a
For
long age.
points.
Do they still have Dominion in Legends?
Yeah. I
thought it
don't.
was
I don't
kind of-
play it.
I thought it was kind of a fail when I played it.
I didn't play. I don't
That's
play
my
it.
opinion, though.
Like, let's be honest, Blizzard is busy. Like,
Well, for sure.
it's easy to think like, oh, here's this like monolith of thousands of employees, but they're not that big. Like, they're, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred, and most of them, as soon as a game is released, get assigned to other projects.
They
Yeah.
go. They
Because
go on vacation.
development, yeah, they go play golf and then they work on like Diablo, because to get a game to market is a ton of work, and then from then on out, it's like patching and fixing bugs, which doesn't require an entire development team.
Right.
And I can't imagine they have too many guys who are working full time on worrying about maps. But you
Yeah.
give it to millions of people,
and
or
they're going
hundreds
to
of
come up
thousands
with
of people.
crazy stuff.
Yeah.
That's
the
what's
whole,
great
like-
about community-driven like
Yeah.
things in games.
Well-
Well, they're like you have that many people working on something, and they're going to come up with something that nobody else would have even thought of.
Well, let's
make
talk
it
about the
reality.
maps that Blizzard has done.
Right.
So, Blackheart's Bay, you collect the in-game, the doubloons,
Doubloons.
chests, and creeps. You bring 10 of them to Blackheart, and Blackheart fires his cannons at the enemy forts.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, that just adds a whole different. Like that makes me think about Alterac Valley in World of Warcraft. How
You
well
could
not
collect the
now,
blood
but
and-
but back in the day, like vanilla and BC even, where you'd actually collect scraps of or blood or whatever, and you bring it to the altar, and then you summon
Yes.
your giant friggin' whatevers.
Yeah.
You got the rock lore or whatever his name is in the giant tree, and they push for you, and they're like this
Yeah.
huge, the
That's
balance
more-
completely tips at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
what that makes you think of, something similar to that. You're collecting something for a big bonus to push a base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get these doubloons by killing creeps, which you
Right.
should be doing anyways.
Right.
But then there's these like chests that appear. I think there's 2 spots where they can appear, and they'll have. I think it's a random amount. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 or 5. It's what I've seen. And when you destroy it, those coins drop. But if you have, let's say there's a siege tank on Team A, destroying this, and then there's like a cloaked Nova sitting there waiting for it to be destroyed, and then run in
They
and
just
grab all the
summon all
coins,
the-
like that can happen. And the fact that you have to give them to Blackheart, and he's standing in one spot, and the exchange is sometimes like 5 seconds. Like it's a fairly long thing,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and any amount of damage done stops that exchange. You're gonna start from the beginning. It's not that you were 30% done, so you handed 30 amount of your coins, or 30% of your coins. It's done. Like you no longer are exchanging things. So the fights that evolve and the amount of control that evolves around Blackheart forces an engagement, and you only see that in like League of Legends. I know more than Dota, but I hear it's fairly similar in Dota. When you have Baron, or I guess Fire Giant, is that what it is?
League of
Fire
Legends,
Giant
right?
is Smite, and then
Yeah.
Smite's
Baron
Fire
is
Giant, Baron
League
is
of-
League of Legends.
So
And Drag.
there's a
Dragon.
buff that happens there, and it's fairly substantial. Like
Oh,
you want
oh,
to be
yeah,
the
it's
team
good
that
buff.
grabs that, because you
Good
could
buff.
lose just right there. So you're forcing this team engagement whenever that happens, but that's like 25
Yeah,
minutes
that's
into a
late
game, and then if the game happens to progress, like say it happens and they didn't win, then it's like another like 5-10 minutes before it appears again. Whereas Blackheart is shooting his cannons like every 4 minutes,
Yeah.
because that's how quick it happens. Like you're forcing engagements the entire time,
Right.
and that is just another one of those elements that they want these games to be quick.
Yeah.
And they want these games to be like constant action. Like, take a MOBA and trim the fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get rid of everything people don't like. I don't like having to do that. Some people do, and that's fine. This is not a one-size-fits-all game, and neither is
Yeah.
League, and neither is Dota.
Well, that's what they've been saying, right? They're not. It's not here to replace
Right.
the League of Legends.
Yeah.
If you love the complexity, that's great. Stay
Then go
with
play
that.
Dota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go play Dota if you really like.
That's-
It's not like
complex MOBA.
StarCraft, where you either like real-time strategy, therefore you play StarCraft, or you like other games.
Yeah.
Like outside of StarCraft, there's like Civilization, but that's like turn-based,
Age of Empires.
Age of Empires,
Age of Empires.
which
actually does competitions.
which did have
Yeah.
competitions, and mostly it was like StarCraft guys who wanted like extra change would like hop in
Yeah.
and win those.
Mhm.
But it was like, ever since Brood War came out, all like RTS has been StarCraft in one form or another. But this scene is much more competitive. Like, will Heroes get a foothold? Well, I think it appeals enough to the casual side that it can.
Well, and I think it has enough of a history behind
Yeah.
Blizzard. Like that's their.
Get
that's
the initial wave of fanboys, and someone
Yeah,
will stick
exactly.
around.
Like fanboys are gonna push it out into the spotlight, and then
Yeah.
we'll see if people pick it up from there.
And it's free to play, so no one has
Yeah.
anything to lose, right? Might as well give it a shot. And because it's easy to pull you in, and it's easy to not be frustrated, more so than the other ones.
So there's
you're
another
more
map.
likely to stick around.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off.
Yeah, yeah.
There's another map. Blizzard has blessed us with 4 maps.
We've been blessed.
So the next
From
one
the
is
high heavens.
the Curse of Hollow. Again, it's 5 vs 5. Unique objectives as tributes spawn periodically. You channel on a tribute to collect it for your team. When you collect 3 tributes, the enemy team becomes cursed. So the minions take more damage.
This is when they're cursed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get the other team's
And they deal
cursed.
less damage.
They
right?
deal less
I don't-
damage.
I don't know.
I don't-
if-
I don't think they
remember-
deal less damage.
I
They
didn't see anything on that, and I haven't read anything.
And the
on
tower
that.
stopped shooting.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
towers
tower
don't-
stopped shooting.
That's huge.
and minions take
and minions
extra
take
damage.
extra damage, so you can clear a lot.
That's
faster.
Well, you can clear them pretty quick as it is, but I think even like jungle creeps that they've controlled are weaker in that sense.
Are they?
That you can clear them out quicker.
So
So
it makes sense, right? Because it's in there.
yeah, you get. I think this is a 2-lane map. I remember thinking before it was 3, and then I was corrected, and I looked it
Yeah.
up. And
I was
that's
trying
what
to find to see if I could get like a screenshot of each of the maps, but I couldn't.
it is. Even
find
then, it's
any
kind of
out
hard
there.
because there's so
Yeah.
many paths and
Yeah.
towers. It's hard to tell exactly where it is. But as soon as the other team's cursed, you can take all 5 of your guys and push a lane hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can knock down like all 3 towers in a keep, and that's huge. You can actually ignore what the other team's doing for that short amount of time and just like torpedo your way through.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
like
I
a
mean, your
Hail
other
Mary.
creeps are going to be killing their creeps faster because
They're
they're
pushing
going
all
to be
their
taking
own.
more damage, so you don't have to
Yeah.
worry.
You
about
can just
pushing
rush
those
the
little
towers
guys.
because it's not shooting you anyway.
Yeah,
and your whole team just
exactly.
take out the tower.
And the other team is forced to be defensive.
Yeah.
So it's No, I like that one
And
because
people get
you're fighting
patient when
all
they're
the
playing
time.
defensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're more
They
likely to make
wanna
mistakes.
create an opportunity.
Yeah.
But it usually ends up bad.
Right.
When you're on defensive, just stay defensive. That's
Yeah.
you play more passively that way. So the next two is Dragonshire and Haunted Mines. I've seen these two the most.
Yeah.
I've seen
Watching
Haunted Minds
streams.
like every other game. I've
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah,
Haunted
there
Mines is
was
big coming
who
up.
was I watching? Tempo. I was watching Tempo.
Oh yeah.
They got Dragonshire like 7 times in a row. 7 times in a row.
Crazy.
Dragonshire is my least favorite.
Is it? I think it's cool.
It's a cool concept. I like
Capturing
it.
the obelisks.
I like
two
the other
on
ones
each
more,
side. Yeah.
Not that it's bad, but I like the other ones more.
Like just being able that your character can turn into a dragon.
That
Dragon
has
Knight,
like
Dragon
And like,
infinite.
he runs up and he punts people and they go flying.
Yeah.
On the screen. That's so cool.
He has this all new like skill set. Like,
Yeah.
You become another like ultimate character. It's kind of like if you do an arena draft in Hearthstone, and then you get like this legendary that you'd never be able to own in a normal deck. You're like,
Yeah.
this is so cool. I get to use this, and like that alone has like a cool appeal where people are willing to pay $2 just to do that.
Yeah.
And this happens all the time in this map. You could play this really cool hero, and that's cool because even when you die, let's say you screw up and you lose your internet and he's just running towards a tower. When you die, you plop out. It's like a shell, it just falls off, and and you plop out full health. And so even if you failed, you can just run back and like.
There was somebody that made a good point that was streaming that when you are the Dragon Knight and you're attacking and you're in their base,
Yeah.
when you end or when that timer runs out or you get killed, your team is completely overextended.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So that's the perfect time for you to not be defensive and capitalize on them not having their towers or having their creeps right with them because they're just overextended. And an
you can't
overextension
support
in a
it.
MOBA is the worst thing that you can do.
Yeah, you can go from like pushing really hard to losing all 5 players on your team.
Yeah, and then what? Then
And
the other
then
team
you
can
get
push.
screwed,
Yeah.
then,
yeah.
And then that's a potential loss of them getting the obelisk.
Well, yeah, it's all about using the Dragon Knight smart.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
But you don't want to just. If
You don't want to just be like, I'm so powerful, and like just try to get as far in as you can.
You can have him stay behind and the rest of your team just kind of fall back
Yeah.
to their side of the map. I mean, if you lose one player,
You know,
By
when you're running
taking
low,
out
you want
3
start-
towers.
I think
in a
it's a
ba-
fair
uh,
trade-off to lose one guy to get like 6 towers.
But even still, like you can go in there and like, there's what, a timer on it?
I don't think a
How
Dragon
long?
Knight's that
There's-
powerful. I just
There's a
watched it.
timer and the hit points.
And
Oh,
Right,
the
so
hit points, of course.
if you were to like sit in your base, yeah, a timer does.
Yeah.
Does appear.
But I mean, like, so you send him in, and just before he either dies or the timer's gonna run out, 10 seconds after, whatever, just start heading back. Do
Yeah.
as much damage as you can
and
for
then,
as long as
then
you
you're
can.
not overextended.
Yeah, and then you can just retreat.
you-
There's no
you're-
point on standing there until you're done and then leave and then get killed. Like
most of what
I
I've
would
seen,
because I'm just
Yeah, 'cause you're-
I'm awesome.
that's the
and I
word.
would guess-
That's the word I was thinking.
And
of
I
too.
would get 6 more towers where you'd be running away.
right.
most of what
towers
I've
in 10
seen
seconds.
is like their teammates will stay behind and throw their abilities at the feet of the dragon
Mm.
Yeah.
to clear all the creeps and all the other heroes that are there, so the dragon lasts longer.
Yeah.
They just kind of let him do all the work. We'll clear the little guys
Yeah.
because you're at a safe distance because most abilities are ranged in some extent. So that's normally what I've said, which is probably the best way. The meta that has become in 2 days.
Yeah.
This is like clearly the best way to play it.
Yeah, obviously.
It's never gonna change. No one can innovate past this.
QCP tutorials.
yeah.
Alphas always stay the same till
Yeah, we'll,
release.
we'll take that little snippet. We'll make it a tutorial.
Yeah.
And we'll release it.
Done. So
We'll get Total Biscuit to narrate it with his British voice.
So the next map and the final map and the end of the points that we're going to talk about tonight
Yeah.
is on Haunted Mines. So there's a separate map that when the mines open up that you go down to kill minions, there's golems that are summoned.
Right.
And they help you push your lane,
Mhm.
Right. And then there's
which
this,
is pretty cool.
the skulls you collect. Over
Well, and the thing is, where the mines are, they only open up every once in a while.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like a separate map from the other
Yeah.
maps.
Yeah, like it's actually below.
Yeah,
your
if
mini
you look on the
map.
mini map, it shows.
But I
the
think
two
it's just
different-
kind of
Underrated.
It's
you can-
under it, but
no, but I mean like it's only just like an oval shape of a map.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
there's
think
like
there's
there's
anything
2
else
spots
to
you can
it.
hop in,
Yeah.
and you get your pier underneath, and then there's like a channel on both, and then it's literally like a circle. And in the middle of that circle is the golem that has a whole bunch of skulls.
Yeah.
And depending on how many skulls you get,
that shows
Is
how
how
strong
strong the golem
your
is.
golem is.
I thought it was how many minions you killed.
Well, each
How
minion
many
drops a
creep you
skull,
Yeah.
Oh, right.
so
okay.
it is essentially that.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
But if you're behind, you can run into your whole team and grab that golem, and it will like catch
Well,
you up.
and another thing is if you engage on them and you kill somebody, they drop the skulls that they had in their possession, so you can pick up their skulls.
Oh, really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I knew you could do it with the gold on the black card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew that.
yeah,
But I
they
didn't
can,
know
they can
about the
drop
skulls.
skulls. So I mean, essentially, you could get 100 skulls.
I saw that once, and it was he like stole the Nexus.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Is that what they call it, the Nexus?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's Heroes of the Storm is like the lore is everyone's been sucked into the Nexus.
Oh, because the
And I
Nexus
guess that's-
are in League.
Yeah, League is what they, which is always confused me a little bit. I guess you could call it something different.
The Blizzard Hole. That's what I like to call it.
Thank you, Alex.
Call it the Maelstrom.
The
We-
Blizzard Hole.
We loved you too, Alex.
All the Blizzard characters got sucked into the Blizzard Hole.
Oh,
to
I got
Heroes
sucked into
of
the Maelstrom.
No.
Yeah.
I thought it was Heroes of the Blizzard Hole.
Oh, it's Heroes of the
Heroes of the
Maelstrom.
Heroes of the Blizzard Hole. Welcome, champions, to
It
the
actually-
Blizzard Hole.
It took me a long time to realize why storm made sense because a blizzard is a storm, and it took me like I didn't realize that for a while.
That's
So just in case anyone in this chat hadn't realized that, and
Yeah.
will never admit it because it's a stupid thing to admit, let me take the blame.
Justin did
I
it.
admitted it,
He
and
saved-
you could say a little click in your head and say, "Oh, well, that does make sense." Heroes of the Blizzard because the Blizzard is a storm, and keep it to yourself because it's embarrassing.
he saved you all from
He
social
just saved
suicide.
you all.
I'm the social save.
Yeah. Well, you didn't know that? You guys must not watch QCPnet.
Yeah.
So haunted minds. I really like this because you're forced to make a decision. If you're going to run your entire team into the mines, you're actually losing experience above because your minions are killing things and there's no one there to grab that experience. So you kind of want to keep one in each lane.
But at the same time, all these maps are objective based.
Right. And you have to make a choice. Do we want that little bit of experience or do we want a stronger grave golem?
Yeah.
Like, is it worth to be a little bit behind in experience,
Personally,
but we're going to make it back by killing towers?
Personally, I think it is.
Yeah, probably.
Until you get to late game. If it runs to late game, then each of the heroes are going to be strong enough to drop the golem down. And it's going to come down to winning team fights.
Right. Well, you're capped at level 25, which happens fairly quickly.
It does. And that's why I say, like, for the first little bit, it might be wise to drop 4 people down in the mine.
Yeah, and
Get
keep a
as
guy
many skulls.
salted. Yeah.
Maybe have, like, 2 people make a, clock going clockwise, and the other people can go the other way and meet the other team,
Yeah.
get a gank, and get their skulls.
Well, a lot of it, like, this whole thing of forcing engagements and forcing fights to happen is, where they're killing creeps because those skulls are disappearing off the minimap.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see how many they're getting. So you could really easily run through.
Why
So
isn't
you
the
can-
main cinematic in the snow then? Why is it in the sand?
Because it's a sandstorm, stupid.
Justin's wall is exploding right now.
I'm just going to ignore it. We're going to lower this a little bit. Just.
What are you doing?
Alex is blowing my mind a little bit too much. Okay.
Because storms in general.
Yeah, it's a sand blizzard.
A sand blizzard.
Duh.
Oh dear.
Well, it's like how
Why are you
deserts.
just making stupid comments, Alex?
It's like how deserts can be sand and snow. It's the same thing with blizzards. They
Yeah.
can be sand and snow.
It's a blizzard storm
Yeah.
of sand.
And snow. So, anyways,
It's a slizzard.
you can gank the other team while they're getting their objective,
Yeah.
which is huge. Because if you can shut them down, there's no one getting creeps anymore. Like there's so much room for like play here. Like there's
Yeah.
just so many things you can do. You can just stick to your own side, get a 50-50. You could push a tower while everyone's down in the mines, and then really focus down their golem and hopefully it doesn't destroy as much. Like there's
And
a
in
lot
all
going on.
honesty, like, it doesn't matter. Well, I guess it does to an extent, but I'm going to say it anyways. It doesn't matter how prepared you are to be ganked while doing that. It still catches you off guard a bit. Because there's been times where we've done 3v3s,
Raider doesn't have snow camo.
and we're getting our camp, we're getting our blue, and we know they're going to invade.
Yeah.
But you can still lose to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it's
Yeah,
going to catch you off guard.
I think. I also think Abathur is actually a really, really good choice for that map specifically, because of his creep tumors, and you
Yeah.
can ward the mine. and you can see when they're
Can
down there.
Abathur put stuff
Yeah,
down in there?
Yeah, I've seen him
Yeah,
do
I've
it.
seen him do them at the
And
end.
so you
Only
can
if there's a
basically
hero down there, right?
yeah,
yeah.
so when your
Yeah,
team
yeah,
hops in, you
Yeah,
plop
so
one.
he can put wards down there to gank. Like, okay, look, their team only has 2 guys down there. Let's go down there and gank them, take their
Yeah.
skulls or whatever, and then finish it off or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities for catching them out of position, because there's no minions to support down there.
Yeah.
Like, you are alone. Like, everything else down there is also trying to kill you.
Yeah.
I think that makes
It's
it,
pretty cool.
at the very least, that makes it really interesting.
Yeah.
Sam Blizzard confirmed.
You heard it here first, folks.
That means Half-Life 3 is confirmed.
You heard it here first.
Sam Blizzard, Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Sandstorm. Oh, we gotta play that
Darude.
song, Darude Sandstorm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we are ending. We can turn off the Diablo. We can turn off the WoW music and put in. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh, funny story. This has nothing to do with video games.
Okay,
first
hold on,
time-
let's-
I ever heard that song, Josh was babysitting me, and he played it on my computer.
Wow.
That's funny.
Yep.
Sounds like a really cool babysitter.
He's like, this is what I do on rave night.
Put
Got
in
my
this.
glow
Put in the
sticks.
soother.
He has like his big old like clompy high heel
His
boots,
pacifier in his mouth.
friggin' fur boots, and like
So here's the storm.
Yeah.
I love how
Yeah.
they're typing the game.
But yeah, that's for the most part. That's all I think we're gonna cover tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty much all the points that we had done tonight.
Actually, there was something we were gonna, I think, talk about at one point. I don't know how, if we're still wanting to do it, but it's talk about the classes in the sense of kind of give you an idea. I mean, most people know classes and what they are. If you've played MOBAs or whatever, you'll know an assassin and what they're good for. You know, like what a tank is good for. I mean, warrior, I suppose, in this sense, but and specialist is a kind of a different thing now. Like that's. You've had supports, which the game has, but
And there's been different types of support.
yeah, you can have a
But
tank
there's been
support,
no-
you can have a healing support, you can have whatever. But also, the specialist thing is a whole new thing. Like you have someone like Abathur, which is like we said before, that was
Could
I think
only
Justin said
exist in this.
could only exist within this kind of game, and not in like League of Legends or Smite or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then you have, well, I guess I'm not sure, the siege tank that
Sergeant Hammer.
yeah, she right?
Yeah.
She is her own special kind of unique abilities as well, like in that sense. And she does more damage to towers and stuff,
Towers, yeah.
which is a bonus.
At the
right
beginning of the game, does not do very much damage towards
Right.
other heroes because you want to be in siege mode
there.
and you deal.
well, people were
You
saying
do deal the
could-
same amount of
you could
damage.
Make her kind of an assassin too.
Yeah, you pop in, wait for them to run through, and like those 4 hits.
Yeah.
But the problem is you can't chase
Right.
as
Yeah.
well as other heroes can. Like if you're Tyrael, you can throw down that dagger or whatever, like
Sword,
appear
his
to it.
knife.
Yeah, and
Full knife.
there's a lot of chasing
Just a
potential.
butter knife comes out. He's like,
Just a letter opener.
And then other ones like
shall die by the letter opener of righteousness.
other people like Stitches can like pull or Kerrigan has that.
Your
pull
mail
and
is
stuff.
not safe when Tyrion's around.
Oh
Sorry.
my gosh.
Just
keeps
mighty
going.
Tyrion, opener of mail.
Interrupted cow. Anyway,
I now know your social security number.
Your mail.
Hey, open the mail. Tyrion.
Your grandma's doing great.
it sounded like male armor, but anyway.
Your grandma sent you $20. She
Okay.
says hello.
So that's my point.
Good.
Yeah, Sergeant Hammer isn't able to chase, even though she does a lot of damage. But
Yeah.
late game or when there's objectives around, that's where she excels.
You mean she can't mount on a horse?
she
gets
actually
boosts.
pops out like rockets?
Oh.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's like
called boost.
and it
Called
looks.
boost.
I would
It
have
looks
loved to see her
hilarious.
on a rainbow pony.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
a
freaking
friggin'
rainbow.
siege tank with a horse.
I think Diablo's enough. Diablo on
Or
any mount.
Stitches.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah, stitches on a pony.
Friggin' ridiculous.
You're like literally.
It's like when you go in WoW when you make a death knight and you
Oh,
grab
yeah,
the
get the
little tiny horse.
Palomino or whatever.
It's like the swellest
And
horse.
you're
And
a
there's like a
torrent.
torrent on top of it. It's like
You're like dragging through the ground.
And the legs go like super fast.
exactly.
Well, like we said, we covered everything we wanted to. So thanks everybody for watching. We're going to be putting this up on YouTube. You can see the info down at the bottom there for YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Over.
And,
So follow us on all the
like-
things.
like and follow, and you can subscribe.
Like
Yeah.
this is a like.
Even though we don't have a subscribe button.
Like.
follow, like, and subscribe, and we'll be putting up news
Follow,
and stuff of
like.
when we're gonna start streaming and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like essentially, I don't know how much we want to like announce all this stuff, but
Yeah.
we're not just going to be doing a podcast. Like we want to
No,
be doing
yeah.
more content. And
Hint, hint, Blizzard. Alpha
Yeah.
keys would be nice.
we want to do.
I've only been playing your games for about
Yeah.
2 decades.
Yeah.
Hashtag beta access.
So like we want this to be kind of like when we were thinking about what kind of content we want to do, we were thinking we want this to be a channel where you can go to one spot and get pretty much everything. Like there's going to be casts, there's going to be tutorials, there's going to be streams and all that kind of stuff.
A place to give us money.
Thanks, Maggie.
So we want to, because it kind of sucks when you have to be like, well, this is the guy I watch for streaming, and this is the guy who's good at tutorials, and this is the guy who's like, we want to kind of fulfill all that.
Mix it
And
up.
we don't say we're going to be very good, but we might. We might.
I-
Give us that shot.
If you
Give us
want
a
to
chance
watch
to
really
do
weird Japanese games, I'll be.
You know, watch
That
this.
would be on his time.
Yeah.
We are looking for a gaming house.
Yeah.
Well, we're
That is
working
the
on
plan
that.
in the
So-
future.
That'll be kind of fun.
Yeah.
a place to get a business internet line and get it going.
Kawaii.
Yeah, what is that? He says it all the time.
What kawaii?
Yeah.
It just means cute in Japanese.
Oh. I thought it was more exciting than
That's
It is
what
exciting.
that. Alright, there it is. That is it.
All things kawaii.
Anyway.
Yeah, if you guys have any kind of suggestions, if the sound quality wasn't very good, if you thought the overlay was crappy, I want to make the box that we're sitting in bigger.
We're in a box.
Yeah, see the box? We have a screen down here. You guys can't see it, but we have a screen down there.
We have screens everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like looking at a giant screen right now.
Yeah,
It looks like Justin's house.
So we're gonna improve this thing, go on. This isn't gonna be our last podcast, obviously.
No.
And we probably won't do it at this location.
No.
This is my parents' house, and they're on a cruise.
You
And
guys- yeah.
that doesn't happen very often.
This is special, guys.
The next
It
one,
might be probably at my house.
yeah. If we're gonna stream it, we might do just headshots like a traditional. We got to figure all that stuff out. But as more information comes out, we'll be doing more and more podcasts, and we'll announce it.
So follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
And you'll find out more about
Yeah.
when
And
we're
you'll be
doing
able to
stuff
find
and
out
what
all
we're
the
doing.
exciting newses.
Yeah. And then when we actually get
I
a
wouldn't
place,
use the word exciting.
there'll be like
Oh, it's
a house
exciting.
party that everybody's invited to on our stream.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to come, even if you're from Texas. Just keep your guns at home.
Or Tennessee. He's actually from Arkansas, but I say Tennessee because I know it annoys him.
Oh, well, they said something about Texas.
No.
Arkansas.
Whatever.
Kansas.
Arkansas.
Anyways, it's about that time.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. For coming by and hanging out with us.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be doing this stuff more, so keep an eye on us.
We're always in need of
This is
more
only-
friends.
This is only the beginning.
Jordan needs more friends.
That's right.
Yeah, Jordan needs
I
more
can never have
friends.
enough.
We gotta do the GG button again.
GG.
Sign out for the GG.
All right, guys. GG.